Welcome to Off the Roster, brought to you by our founding partner, Proline. Must be 18 plus to bet in store, 19 plus online, and for Ontario residents only. Thank you for joining us on this lovely Tuesday, wherever you may be in the world. I'm Lindsay Dunn, alongside Dan Riccio and Cabbie. We have so much to talk about, you guys, but let's start off talking about the Raptors. Yes, we will get into the Leafs taking on the Panthers and their massive injury list. But last night on the hard court, Toronto Raptors beating the Hawks, sweeping them for the series and taking both home games against them. 7 players in double digits, including all 5 starters, which included the rookie CMB, who had a career night. 17 points, 7 rebounds, I think 7 assists. He had 3 steals and 2 blocks. And before I get your reaction to the game, I want to hear from the rookie himself. He was asked post-game about something we hear commonly from players about one of the biggest adjustments going from college to playing in the NBA is about how physical the game is. Here's what he had to say.
Am I surprised about me?
Yeah, are you surprised how well you've been able to just kind of fit in physically with the rest of the NBA?
Nah, I lift. Like no cocky stuff, but like I tried my hardest to prepare for this moment, prepare to play against the best of the best. I mean, and it's a big physical aspect to that, and I feel like I prepare myself as much as possible and still trying to get stronger every day.
I love that.
I lift.
Yeah.
I lift.
Do you even lift, bro? That. The answer is yes, mother bleeper. You see these biceps, bro?
See this tank top? I lift.
Yeah,
well, it's exactly okay for him to wear the tank top, not William Nylander though. That's
Hey now, I can't wait to see you wearing that when the Leafs make the playoffs. But let's get into your thoughts about CMB's performance and kind of the performance of the game overall, Dan.
Well, I mean, CMB's performance was unbelievable. You know, I don't think you really realize how difficult it is for a rookie to put up that kind of a stat line and to do it without a turnover as well. I mean, this is about as good a line you will see from a rookie as ever. You know, I know it's not like a 30-point triple-double, but like those are rookie lines reserved for guys like LeBron James and you know, the top tier that enter the NBA. But for Colin Murray-Boyles to come in and do that and continue to build off what he's done with the Raptors here over the last couple of weeks is just so huge for this team that was looking to find another element. He does it at both ends of the court. And I'm going to call out NBA.com because I've been following along the Kia rookie ladder that they've got going. And not once has Colin Murray-Boyles been in the top 10 from what I've seen. He needs to be in there. The way he's playing, I want to see him in the next iteration. He is climbing that rookie ladder right now to be in one of the top rooks in the NBA.
That was a great pantomime, my friend. I really, and I agree with you. CMB had a phenomenal game, and I'm going to highlight a couple of moments from last night's game that I really liked. But overall, I just love Toronto's balanced scoring. As Lindsay mentioned off the top of the show, 7 players were in double digits. Nobody scored over 20, but it was just a complete effort. And the Raptors led the entire game, which is great. And they sweep the Atlanta Hawks this season 4-0. And in the third quarter, I love a couple of plays. Jalen Johnson drives. He's denied by Colin Murray-Boyles, and then which leads to a fast break. Brandon Ingram passes it to Colin Murray-Boyles, who then lays it up. That was nice. Raptors are up by 13 at that point. Toronto leads the NBA in fast break points with an average of 19.3 per game. Last night, 29 points on the fast break. Just domination as far as pace and tempo goes. And Lindsay, or you guys had mentioned his line, 17-7 and 7, 5 stonks, so 3 steals, 2 blocks, 5 stonks, excuse me. Raptors.
Stonks are cool too.
Yeah, stonks are cool, yeah. What was it? That was the meme explosion of COVID, right? 2020? Like
AMC and GameStop. I'm all in. Let's go. BlackBerry,
diamond
let's bring
hands
it back.
And then lasers in the eyes. But as it relates to the Raptors, top 4 in defensive rating was mentioned on the broadcast, and the Raptors held Atlanta to 39% from the field. There was a moment where Jamal Shed gets into the passing lane, intercepts the ball or steals the ball, then just goes down court, lays it in. Salute to the young fella, 5 points, 5 assists last night. And in the fourth quarter, Toronto withstood 2 Atlanta Hawks 7-0 runs. So it was kind of getting dicey, but there were a couple plays that just really sealed it. There was a moment where Mamu was like looking for a teammate, swings it out to IQ. He drops a 3. It was nice to see him hit 3 3-pointers in that game. As I believe, Dan, you mentioned in the previous show or the previous game, he's been kind of up and down. So it was nice to see him get some confidence from downtown. And Brandon Ingram also had 3 3-pointers in the game. My last point, there was a moment where Scottie Barnes throws it out to RJ Barrett, and he just was real silky with his 3. He dropped it. Barnes had 10 assists in the game, just a quiet 10. The guy's just unbelievable. And the Raptors shot close to 60% from the field in the fourth quarter. It was just end-to-end, a great game on not a back-to-back, but on a mini baseball series against Atlanta. And Toronto improves to 4-1 on that 5-game homestand. So I loved that entire game. I was watching with my 2-year-old, feeding him grapes and pineapples. Salute to the Raptors. Thank you for the W.
I love this. We'll continue to break it down. We do have a bit of Raptors news that came out about 30 seconds ago. The Raptors announcing they've waived center Mo Bamba, who appeared in 2 games for the club after signing as a free agent December 29th. Toronto's roster now stands at 14 and 3 2-way players. What I'm most upset about is no Mo Bamba number 5. He didn't really get a chance. He really didn't get a chance.
Bobby saw the show and he's like, no bueno. He's like, no, we're not doing that.
It was not a guaranteed contract.
So we are influencers, which we'll get into later. But, there's some eyes at 40 Bay Street watch this show. And so they're like, we don't want Lindsay singing Mo Bamba number 5 anywhere near our players or anywhere near hot microphones inside Scotiabank. So we got to send this young fella on the kids.
Can't stop me. Well, so that happened. I don't think many people are surprised, but he really didn't get a chance. It's one of those storylines you were hoping for. He got a little bit more of a chance, and he really made an impact considering he did not play in an NBA game for over a year. And then when he went in, I think he had a couple blocks or something or rebound really quickly. So it's one of those things. From what I've heard, he's not a terrible person. I only saw him twice because it was such a short tenure with the Toronto Raptors, but you can add that to the long list of people who were with the Raptors for a hot minute. But I would like to say about a hot minute, somebody was hot from wherever they were shooting yesterday. Grady did not miss. I know we spoke about this all season and since our show started, is that he has struggled a little bit with shooting and his confidence. I know there's been a lot of storylines about how his minutes have dropped and he'll kind of get pulled quickly, and you can see that was impacting his confidence. But yesterday he did not miss. He also had a couple steals, and I was happy for him, and he had rebounds and all that other stuff. But Dan, I would like to know your RJ stat of the day.
Well, it's just an update. We need the RJ Barrett stat update. It is now an off the roster thing because the Raptors are 15-6 with RJ Barrett in the lineup this year, and they're below 500 without him. I don't know if that warrants some kind of MVP consideration for RJ Barrett. That may be a bridge too far, so we won't go there. But when you consider it this way, consider it a different way. 15-6, that sounds great. And it is great. But it's also a 7-14 win percentage, I think, by my very elementary math. And that would be the second best mark in the Eastern Conference, only next to the Detroit Pistons. If you look over at the Western Conference, only OKC and San Antonio have a better win percentage than 7-14 would be for the Raptors with RJ Barrett in the lineup. So, okay, it's a bit of a smaller sample size at 15-6, but it's pretty clear that the Raptors are another level when they have RJ Barrett in the lineup. So that's the RJ Barrett stat update.
I'm going to give my Garrett Temple minutes update, which is also a new segment happening here. How many minutes did he play last night?
How many?
0.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah. We're at 0. He didn't play, but hey, still give him those all-star votes. Let's go. Seriously, keep the all-star votes going for Scottie Barnes, who had another great game. He had another double-double, very impactful on both ends of the floor. We do have to give a shout-out to Jamal Shed. Saw that in the chat. He had this great moment against Porzingis where a foul was not called when he went up. He went down the other end of the court. It was a legal play in basketball terms. knocked it down. He saw them jawing a little bit after, and I love the toughness and grit that he brings. He's only a sophomore, but everything that this guy has brought from his rookie season to now, just like CMB, I am so excited to see the continued growth of him. But guys, what I'm not so excited about is something that happened before the game, which we've all been around teams where this has happened. It was a Shams tweet that said how Trae Young and his management, his agents, they're working with the Hawks to get him moved and finding a resolution. And they're trying to work out a trade. So this happened going into the game. This has been a storyline surrounding this team for a couple weeks, but man, this is tough going into a game. You better believe it was awkward in the locker room when you have all the media standing around his locker. And then when he's not giving a comment, they go ask his teammates about, what are your thoughts on this? How do you guys handle this? And obviously their answer is, we have a game to play. We're worried on the game and winning the game, which obviously they did not. But Trae Young, I know a lot of Raptors fans that I saw on the weekend or when you go to the message boards, they do not want to see him come here. There is a team that, Dan, if you want to mention, where is kind of being the rumored pick, but have you been around a situation like this? Because I don't think people realize it is pretty awkward to be in the locker room.
It's coming over from Vancouver the last couple of years. It's been a rough go for the Canucks. In case anybody's noticed, you had Quinn Hughes, their captain, being put under the spotlight. Is he going to stay? Is he going to go? Is he going to give the Canucks a feel on what he wants for his future? And obviously, he chose Vancouver was not for him, and they facilitated a trade. He's now out in Minnesota, but it came off of the whole JT Miller thing last year where, his relationship with Elias Pettersson blew up, and then, their president, Jim Rutherford, is going out in the media and he's being like, yeah, this is an untenable situation. We're going to have to trade one of them. And it just kind of really snowballed from there. And it became awkward, I'm sure, for the players. It became awkward for the team. They very clearly were like, yeah, there's a lot of noise and it's hard to deal with it. And I think you even saw it with the Canucks this year when Quinn Hughes got traded. They went on like a 4-game win streak. It's just like a big relief when this whole storyline, this cloud that's hanging over the team, finally gets moved on. And I think that's probably what's happening for an Atlanta Hawks team that I think a lot of us thought were more talented than what their record currently shows.
This is the business of sports. Like, guys get traded all the time, and coaches get fired, and people want to change their situations. The awkward part, for sure, Lindsay, as you mentioned, is the other teammates have to then answer for Trae Young when he's not. It makes me. I can't remember specifically what it was, but I remember there was in baseball, and you know this, Lindsay. For the audience that doesn't know, after a game, they usually have like 3 or 4 guys speak to the media max, and there are 25 dudes on a baseball team. And if there's a controversy or something going on with a particular player, that person is not speaking to the media. Baseball is like the hardest of the 4 sports to engage with players because they're so aloof and they don't really have to talk to the media. So then you have like a relief pitcher talking about, I don't know, the slugging first baseman that isn't embroiled in something, and he's like, what are you talking to me for? It's like that one 50 Cent meme. Like, why you say bleep me for? So in this situation with the Atlanta Hawks, I don't know who exactly had microphones in front of their faces, but that would be awkward to have to speak about a teammate. And you understand the business of basketball. You understand that, like, hey, this team is not performing the way it wants. And there's been, Trae Young has been rumored to be either traded or wants out for a long time in that organization. So it is uncomfortable, probably more so for the media members having to go, well, if Trae Young's not going to talk, we got to get a clip from somebody. And if that somebody is, I don't know, Luke Kennard, sorry, Luke, but like, what's going on with Trae Young? And you just got to do it. But it's that I imagine it would suck for some of his teammates.
Yeah, I think what most Raptors fans want to know, though, like, are the Raptors going to be in on Trae Young? I feel like ever since Kawhi, right? It's like, are the Raptors in on this potentially star player that's going to be available here in trade? And I don't know. Hawks GM Ansi Salah, who's got ties to Edmonton, So shouts to Ansi. He's got a tough cookie on his hands here with Trae Young, but he's a smart guy, and I think there's a lot of reasons why he's being heavily linked to the Wizards, who are also looking to start climbing their way up the standings. It just doesn't feel like a fit for the Raptors, like not in a basketball kind of way, and even in just a team that's got a really good vibe about it right now. Like, do you want to bring in a guy who's this is not my field, but just reading the tea leaves, he's got some question marks about how he fits in with other players and how he's fit in on that Hawks team where, again, his reputation as a teammate isn't the best right now.
We will be talking about trades on February 5th, which is the NBA trade deadline. I'm part of the problem when it is that awkward scenario in the locker room, because I'm awkward in general. We all know this. But I vividly remember it wasn't so much a trade, but like just something that happened. And it was Jonte Porter. I think everybody knows about the gambling scandal that surrounded him and him betting. And I don't have to say allegedly, because I believe he was found guilty of betting against the Raptors when he played there. But I remember we all just kind of finished post-game, coach spoke, and then all of the players got brought back in from the court and they got put into the locker room, which I've never seen that before. It's never happened before. And I covered the team during COVID. So like that's saying a lot, where nobody was in there except for like 6 of us, including the Raptors mascot. But and then all of our phones started to go off. They're like, bing, 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 bing. And we all like, no way this is true. So they play the game. Then after, we go up to Garrett Temple, which, by the way, in no way am I slandering him by counting his minutes. He is such a great asset to this team. He's a great person. I'm a Garrett Temple fan. But we all had to go ask him after, like, what are your thoughts on this? Because he kind of took him under his wing. He spoke about him often. They went to chapel together before the games. And he's like, I don't know if this is true. Like, I can't believe something is true. But it is such an uncomfortable feeling. So I feel for the Hawks right now, anybody else, but the vibes right now in the Raptors locker room, besides, there is probably 1 or 2 players potentially being moved, they're still pretty good. So, hey, it could be worse. They won. Tomorrow they're taking on Charlotte. And I would love for a guest appearance on the broadcast, because I know a lot of people waking up in the East Coast, they did not catch this last night. Snoop D-O-G, was on the Warriors and Clippers broadcast being a commentator. And Steve Kerr got ejected during the game, which he was right on the call not happening. And here is Snoop on the call.
Oh, look at Steve Kerr. He's all the way out here.
Uh-oh, Steve, don't get thrown out. Get him out of there. Get him out of there. Back him up. Back him up, GP. Back him up. Steve ready to fire on him.
He's already going.
Steve banging Inglewood right now. Inglewood. Get him, Steve. You an Inglewood, Steve. The Arizona Wildcat that came out and look at him.
And then he growled.
I've got it.
Wow,
Guys.
that's awesome.
Oh, man.
It was awesome, but it gets even better. I just reposted this on Twitter because I actually didn't see it. Oh my gosh, it's wild that this happened. Think of the scenario. He did a post-game interview with Kawhi Leonard sitting beside him live on the broadcast. Of all people. Yes.
Yeah.
He was
Snoop.
Sounds
Wait,
very
Snoop conducted an interview with Kawhi?
with Kawhi. So I had a quote
my
tweet
gosh,
saying,
how many-
and like, it's a little wild. Like I would love to know the conversation approaching Kawhi to say, hey, by the way, your walk-off interview is going to be with checks notes, Snoop Dogg. Hey man, I think it's like hilarious. And he starts off and he just doesn't care. He's having fun. He's had some great hockey calls. And I know people have no time for this, but I love this. Sports are meant to be entertaining. And for me, that was entertaining. So I think Jack Armstrong is one of the most entertaining broadcasters, also a lovely person. So I'm curious for you guys, if you could have a guest person on the Raptors broadcast, not named Drake, because he already did it, who would you like to have on? And Dan, I'm curious what your take would be. I feel like, I don't know. I have no
well, I'd say Eddie Vedder, but like that doesn't maybe live in reality.
Well, he is a big Hoop fan.
I'm kidding.
No, but they are. Didn't they want to name their band Mookie Blaylock?
They did name their band Mookie Blaylock. It was originally that before it was Pearl Jam. But okay, kidding aside, I want to live in reality here and what could potentially happen. One of the great voices of modern time, Glorilla, joining Matt Devlin and Jack
Oh.
Armstrong maybe on the broadcast, right? BI's partner, just get her out there. She's already courtside for a lot of these games, so throw her on the broadcast, see what happens.
I love that because Devlin always does that thing where he's like from Mississauga. So can you imagine her having to say from Saskatoon? But I'm not even going to try to say it like her. I said it in my Saskatchewan accent. I need this. Sorry.
Yeah. I don't know if she would know a lot of Canadian geography. She might know Mississauga, she might know Brampton, and maybe Scarborough. And that's depending on who she hangs out with here in Toronto. But with the one note about the Kawhi thing, Snoop Dogg might be the only person that Kawhi would grant an interview to. Yeah, and I haven't seen the interview, but you have to be, Fred VanVleet said a few weeks ago when he was with us, he had 5 conversations with him ever. And that was a teammate. So,
for a whole year.
So Snoop has the requisite fame and status in the culture where Kawhi might smile or whatever, but it doesn't seem like he suffers fools ever. It didn't happen, the interview?
Not really, but it was so funny because Snoop Dogg's just Snoop Dogg and Kawhi's just sitting there at the beginning and Snoop talking like Snoop. It's so entertaining and a little bit awkward, but I loved it. So get him.
Okay. Yeah. Also, one quick note about Jonte Porter. He was betting on himself. He was betting on his own props, not against the team. And it was part of a gambling circuit and they were making money off his unders. So just a quick correction on that. No problem. As far as celebrities or personalities that I would love to see at a Raptors game, just have 2 minutes on the mic with Matt Devlin, would be Samuel L. Jackson. And I want Pulp Fiction. I want Jules Vincent with a bad mother bleeper on his wallet, Sam Jackson. I want all the F words. I want the red band feed. I'll pay if I have to watch the game with my the meta glasses or with some other redtube.com or something feed and get behind a paywall. If Netflix starts doing basketball games and it's already behind a paywall, give me that. I need 2 minutes of some uncensored Samuel L. Jackson on a Raptors broadcast, who is a Raptors fan. They shot the movie Long Kiss Goodnight in Toronto back in 95 or 96. And he was seen at multiple Raptors games, sitting courtside, and even had a Raptors bag. And he mentions it by name in the movie Jackie Brown. It's and he was playing a bail bondsman. He's like, I could put the money in my Raptors bag. Anyway, salute to Sam J.
I love that. I love that story. Alex Wong, one of the co-hosts of Hello and Welcome, has a great book about the Raptors, and he details Samuel L. Jackson and how that whole fandom and everything started in a little bit more detail also. It's such a good read, and I love that you brought that up. I'm going to go with just a Canadian pick, although I do want the Samuel L. Jackson vibes. Morgan Freeman, not Canadian. That would also be hilarious if he just read it in the Morgan Freeman style or called the
voice
game.
Of God.
The voice of God calling it and he blocked
March
the
of
shot.
the Penguins?
Yes. Which is just it would might put people to sleep, but this is just Canadian comedy duo. Catherine O'Hara, who I know does not like basketball or watch it. So it could be hilarious of her being a ball went up and a thing happened. And Seth Rogen, because Seth Rogen is always so unhinged. And especially if he smokes a little bit of that green stuff, I think they would be hilarious.
That's a good combo. Well, you could say weed, right? Weed is legal in our province, and I think their country. So you could say,
driving around Toronto and Vancouver, there's more weed shops than there is Tim Hortons these days. So.
The dispensaries are everywhere.
The dispensaries are literally everywhere.
I love this. The chat right now. We got a Justin Bieber suggestion. Adam Sandler would be great. We all know he loves hoops. But I'm going to go to the ice. I love this. Keep the suggestions going on who you guys would like to see call another game. I would love to see some guest commentators on hockey. Like we said, Snoop Dogg did it. But the Leafs, they're on the ice taking on the Panthers. And I know their season we've talked about, it's been a little up and down. We've seen some highlights, but when it comes to lowlights, we have to talk about the injury report. And here is Craigie B giving an extensive update on the Leafs injuries going in today's game. Sit down. It's going to be amazing.
Know your injury situation first, please.
All of them? Or
Let's start with Jake. I suppose.
Then I'm done after that, right?
Yes.
McCabe is probably a week. It could be sooner, but I would guess a week.
Probably a week.
Tana, possible surgery.
Yeah.
Is the surgery related?
No,
to
different.
his first one, right?
Okay.
No. Totally different. Okay. This last injury is totally different. So that's the surgery part. So he is going to get looked at this week on that. Stolarz is skating. He's getting better, and he's doing better. Willie, day-to-day. Skated a bit today on his own. He's getting better, but he's still not able to play. Carlo practiced with us today. We'll see if he's available tomorrow. Who else am I missing?
Murmas came back.
Murmas, he's skating, but he's still a ways away.
McCabe upper or lower?
Lower.
Okay. Yeah. Lower body. At least we got some kind of clarification there.
Yeah. 6 dudes, man.
Yeah.
That's tough. That's a MASH unit almost. Super dated. I got to update that reference. MASH. It's a show from the 70s.
Yeah.
Jeez, I don't think Little Willie Styles who
Grandpa
locks
Cabbie.
into our feet. I know. I don't know if Willie
haven't even
Styles on
watched
our chat would even know that reference. So I gotta update The Pit. How about that? The Pit on HBO.
Yeah, very relevant. Recently won Critics' Choice Award stuff. Don't really know what those are, but anyways, yeah, they have a lengthy list of injuries, which I know is part of the game. Panthers obviously been dealing without Kachuk and their goaltender, but Dan, what do you make of the latest injury update going into tonight's game?
This one is tough. You know, Jake McCabe outlined it last week when talking about the Leafs penalty kill, just how good Jake McCabe has been. He did finish the month of December as the second best in the league when it came to plus minus, only behind Nathan McKinnon. He has just been a horse back there for the Leafs, the most underrated player, the most balanced player on the back end for the Leafs. So this one's tough. Hopefully it is just a week. I know for Leaf injuries, if we're trying to do the math on what they tell us, a week might mean he's probably back after the Olympics. Hopefully it's not that, but that's kind of the way some of the Leafs injury timelines end up working out. You're going to get Carlo back, which is good, but he was struggling to start the year, and he's going to have to get thrown right back into the fire. You hope that he is able to get up to speed pretty quickly. And for everybody that's been looking at, Morgan Riley and pointing the finger at Morgan Riley, who's now everybody's favorite whipping boy on the Maple Leafs, I mean, this just means more minutes for Riley. So while he's going through his struggles, he's going to have to find a way to find his game while being fed an even bigger role with Jake McCabe out of the lineup.
And the injuries will impact the special teams, and that's an area which intrigues me a little bit about this particular matchup, because over the last 10 games, Florida's penalty kill has been stellar, succeeding at an 82.5% rate, which should be beneficial because Toronto's power play hasn't been good all season. However, the Leafs are starting to find their groove on the power play. In the last 6 games, they've converted at a 45% clip. We mentioned yesterday, on yesterday's show, that in the last 6 games, Toronto's scoring over 4 goals a game, which is awesome. And this can continue because Seth Jones is recently he was injured during the Winter Classic. He's, day to day or week to week, but he's not expected to return until February. So a big part of their defensive core will not be there. And which means Donovan Sabrango, who I'm just discovering today, will be filling in for Seth Jones. I don't watch a lot of Panthers games, admittedly. I just kind of watch Brad Marchand's hijinks and Sam Reinhart and Sam Bennett and Verhaeghe, they're basically the top line guys. And salute to Aaron Ekblad as well. But the special teams, I'm certainly interested to see how that will play out, because Toronto's cooking right now and Florida is cooking as well, as they just killed 4 of Colorado's power plays in a 2-1 win a couple of games ago. One of the only teams to beat Colorado in regulation this season. So it should be a great matchup tonight. Could be a 2-1 game, or it could be, 5-1. Who knows?
Hoping it's 10-1 Maple Leafs. Just saying. I wouldn't be mad
Let's
at
go.
all.
Let's get a baseball score out there.
I love it. Well, there was some interesting yesterday. I think 7-1 was one of the scores in the NHL. But Cabbie, I'll give you an update from the chat. Little Willie Styles, not watched MASH, but Hogan's Heroes. And I'll be honest, I don't even know what that is. I'm like,
nope, I don't know Hogan's Heroes.
Well.
But it's I think that goes way back, but very interesting. So when we're talking about the injuries, Dan, can you put on your GM cap? And who would you like to bring in to potentially help the Leafs when they're dealing with these injuries?
So I know when we talked to Dave Pagnotta yesterday that he mentioned that Brad Treliving is still on the lookout. He's picking up the phone, seeing if anybody will answer his calls and be like, hey, you got any defensemen that can maybe help me out with all these injuries? But here's the thing, you spent a first-round pick on Carlo last year. You spent a first-round pick on Scott Laughton also as well last year. So the Leafs don't have a first-round pick from now until Kingdom Come. It's going to be a while. So you've got to You've got to be a little bit more responsible with your assets for the future, considering as well, you're not guaranteed to even make the playoffs this year as the Maple Leafs, where they currently stand at the midway point of the season. Here comes Igor Zamula, just bought out by the Pittsburgh Penguins, who just acquired him from Philadelphia. So Kyle Dubas may be doing the Leafs a favor here by buying out this young, big Russian defenseman, who's a left shot, by the way, and the Leafs could use some help on the left side. There's apparently a few NHL teams interested. I think Brad Treliving and the Maple Leafs, you should be interested here. It's free. Everybody loves things that are free. I mean, you're going to have to give them a contract, but you don't have to pay any assets, and the Leafs are not an asset-rich franchise. Right now, this is maybe something that could it's a lottery ticket. I know I'm not expecting huge things. This is the equivalent of Mo Bamba, essentially, for the Raptors, but maybe you can find lightning in a bottle with Igor Zamula in a similar way that you did with Troy Stetcher picking him up off waivers from the Edmonton Oilers.
All right.
That's way more time than we needed to spend on Igor Zamula.
Nope,
I don't know about
I
you
like
guys,
that.
but
Hey, I'm here for it.
Go
I like
deep into
you're
the
coming,
cupboard.
Treliving. Let's go for it. Not enough time on this. Hey, anything I think Leafs fans will be happy to potentially improve their lineup, roster, and where they are in the standings, which I believe is 2 points behind the Panthers. So with that being said, guys, I'm curious, how important do you view tonight's game? And I want to give you a scale to rate it on. I love Cheetos. So regular Cheetos being not important, red hot, flaming hot Cheetos being this game is very important. Also putting out there's jalapeno Cheetos, there's Puffs, which sucks. So those are like -5. How important would you rate this game? Dan?
I'll go okay, so I'll go. This is going to be a lot for midway of the season, but I'm going to say Flamin' Hot Cheetos. This is a very, very important game.
Really?
This is not Hawkins Cheesies. This is Flamin' Hot Cheetos. For me right now, like the Leafs are in a really difficult spot. They, as we've talked about, they've been really good the last 6 games, right? They've got points in 6 straight, 4-0-2, 10 of a possible 12 points. They're still at the bottom of the Atlantic Division despite the hot streak. It just shows how difficult it is to climb your way once you've dug yourself an early season hole. And Florida being 2 points up on them, this feels like a pretty big game. And you need the regulation win on top of that. Think about the schedule later this month. They play Colorado twice. They got the 2 games against Mitchie and the Vegas Golden Knights. It is a very difficult schedule through the end of January for the Maple Leafs. So I'm putting extra importance on a divisional game against a team that's slightly ahead of you in the standings. The Leafs absolutely need a flaming hot Cheetos win over the Florida Panthers tonight.
That's phenomenal. What a great scale, by the way, by you, Lindsay. Hawkins Cheesies are the best.
So good.
I think it's kind of just regular Cheetos. I just, Florida's on the road for 26 of the next 41 games. The NHL did the Panthers a favor by front-loading a lot of their games at home. They have, they got to go to DC and they're going to go to the White House. And, having a lot of games on the road helps to build team chemistry. We know that team is actually already pretty tight, having won back-to-back Stanley Cups. But for the Leafs, I get that it's important, but it's only January the 5th today or January the 6th. And they, I know Toronto beat them 4-1 on December the 2nd. But I don't know if this one is. I don't know if this is like DEFCON 1 is the worst one, right? Because DEFCON 5, I think it goes to scale like this, or I guess Flaming Hot Cheetos is like. Yeah. Wrong reference. I think it's kind of regular Cheetos. It's regular Cheetos. I mean, listen, I hope for Toronto fans the Maple Leafs win and Marchand is held off the sheet. Probably won't happen, but I think it's kind of, I don't know. Where do you see it, Lindsay?
I'll be honest. I don't want to see Marshawn, so I'm going to watch the 9:05 game instead and then get your guys' great analysis on it tomorrow.
Okay.
That's how much I dislike watching him play. That's how much I dislike watching him play. But I would say jalapeno cheesy Cheetos flavor. So like there's a lot of heat. You're going to see it's important where they are in the standings that I know what you're saying that, hey, it's only January 6th, but it's one of those things where we've seen the Leafs, how their schedule has went. It's been a roller coaster. How are people going to step up? So I definitely see there is some heat put on this roster and how they're going to perform tonight. Not so flaming red hot Cheetos, your face is going to melt off, but a little bit of heat coming at them right now.
Okay, I like it.
But when we talk about heat, the women's Olympic hockey roster will be released on Friday for Team Canada. The men's was released on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, one of them. It wasn't that long ago. But Sam Bennett, there's been a lot of conversation about where or he should have been on the lineup or whatever it may be. So Dan, I'm curious your take on this. There's just been so much conversation about it, and even more so going into the Leafs taking on his team tonight.
So Sam Bennett has been on an unbelievable run of success, going back to the Four Nations last year when he provided Canada with some sandpaper down the lineup. You know, he's getting gritty into the blue paint, and then he goes into the playoffs. He's elbowing Anthony Stolarz in the head and getting away with it. But not that I'm still mad about that or anything, but I just haven't forgotten it. He did it again later in the playoffs. But in any case, Sam Bennett's been on a generational run. He won the Conn Smythe last year. Like, how do you not have this guy on Team Canada? And I sort of get the conversation, but I'm also like, to me, the conversation shouldn't be about Sam Bennett. Like, I saw Matthew Schaefer play and dominate the Leafs on Saturday. I want that guy, the 18-year-old that's doing like things we've never really seen an 18-year-old defenseman since like Ray Bourque or Bobby Orr or Phil Housley, you know, some of the greatest defensemen in NHL history. Not very many of these guys play in the league at 18 years old. And not only is Matthew Schaefer playing in the league at 18, he's playing 24, 25 minutes a night for Patrick Waugh and the Islanders and thriving while doing it. Put that guy on Team Canada. Stop worrying about his age. I mean, clearly the talent is enough for this guy to have success. And even a player like Connor Bedard, I know he's hurt, but I want more talent on Team Canada. And not that Sam Bennett isn't talented, but you know, we're talking about the most talented players in the game. I'd rather have the conversation be about Matthew Schaefer and Connor Bedard than it is about Sam Bennett not being on Team Canada.
The future's bright, though, Dan. Like, I mean,
So bright.
I think the next games, I believe they're in France, the next winter games. So, I mean, you have Connor as your 1C. You'll have Bedard. Oh, so you're McDavid. You have Bedard. You have Macklin. You'll have presumably match. Like the kids are going to be all right. You know, so It's like if an 18-year-old doesn't get invited to Team Canada now, like when he's 22, he's going to be cooking. You know, bearing any kind of catastrophe. So I understand from the management's standpoint, not inviting Matthew Schaefer to be on the team. And you make a compelling argument because he is a very talented player, but we can let him cook. We can let him marinate for a little while.
Yeah. We'll see what happens, and as long as he doesn't cook tonight against the Toronto Maple Leafs, I am fine with that. Someone's saying that Marchand's going to get a hat trick because of what I just said. Also in the chat, thank you for joining us underneath. Yeah, the Nation Network on YouTube, thank you for joining us. If you're watching on Instagram or Twitter or you're listening to us later, thank you for joining the conversation. Part of the conversation, someone said, hey, I'm curious to see how Matthews will perform tonight. At home, taking on the Panthers. We all know the storyline. I know he's been pretty good. We know the storyline there. We'll see what happens. But the storyline surrounding a team that, Dan, you cheer for has been slander. We're going to talk a little bit of NFL and then a new segment called What's Grinding My Gears. I cannot wait for your guys' take on it. But Dan, the Seahawks have been getting slandered the last couple of days. I need you to defend your people.
This is, I'm driving around yesterday. I'm listening to different NFL podcasts, listening to different, radio segments about the NFL playoffs and people getting ready for wild card weekend. And everybody's like, hey, who's your Super Bowl favorite going into the start of the NFL playoffs? And I'm sitting there and everybody's just like, the Seahawks. They just, they might have had the best record, but they can't win with Sam Darnold at quarterback. I'm like, if you watched the Seahawks at all this year, it's not just about Sam Darnold. They got the best receiver, at least for my money, in the NFL, Jackson Smith and Jigba. The run game's been unbelievable with Ken Walker and Zach Charbonnet. Their offensive line, fantastic too. It really got upgraded with some of their young guys, Charles Cross, Gray Zabel as draft picks the last couple of seasons. And then you look on the defensive side, the best defense in all of football by DVOA. And yes, everybody's giving flowers to Kyle Shanahan and the San Francisco 49ers for their offense going into that Week 18 game. And guess what? They got shut down by the Seahawks defense. Didn't even get a sniff of the end zone. Didn't score a touchdown in that game. And we're trying to discount the Seahawks, who are number one in DVOA on offense and defense, something that's only happened now 5 times in the history of the National Football League. And 4 of those 5 have gone to a Super Bowl. One of them was the 2013 Seahawks, by the way. The last team that did it was the Ravens a couple of years ago. They lost out to Patrick Mahomes in the conference championship. So teams that are this good, that show this much on both sides of the ball, they're tough outs in the playoffs. So don't be discounting the Seahawks just because you don't think Sam Darnold's got it.
Talk that talk there, Riccio. Talk that
don't
talk,
be discounting.
G. Love that, bro.
Don't be discounting them. So, yeah, there's obviously a lot of storylines to talk about, including GMs and coaches being let go. I want to get to that in a moment, but I do want to go back, just rewind to the weekend. I know this is a little bit dated, but I do want to talk about the Steelers-Baltimore game because that was a wild ending, and we have a couple videos to show if you haven't seen them. If you're listening, we will describe what happened. I know this happens, but when it comes to a field being blessed by a priest, I know that a lot of teams, they will speak to chaplains before they go out and play, but I can't say that I've seen a priest go out and bless a field, which is exactly what happened for the Steelers. And it's just, hey, it worked for them. How much, is this allowed in the Catholic Church? I have no idea what we're blessing anymore. Well, bless this show. And then after, so they win. Crazy ending. Is
this the religious version of Canada putting the loonie under the ice in what was it? Was it 02 in Utah? In Salt Lake City? Is this the equivalent?
Yes. So yeah, it comes down to a kick in the end that's missed. And Tomlin, head coach of the Steelers, who obviously has been in the hot seat the last couple of weeks, this was his post-game response to being asked about that kick.
Make that kick, season's over, comes to a screeching halt, and missing that kick and the winner going on.
You know how it is. If my aunt had male parts, she'd be my uncle. All right?
That's a fact. That's a fact. He's basically saying woulda, coulda, shoulda. There are no woulda, coulda, shouldas. And then wasn't that the corner? Didn't the ball veer? Where the priest blessed that.
It was me taking driver off the tee. It was just it looked okay at first, and then it just wide right,
And then it pulled to the corner where he blessed the field, right? The Tyler, I can't remember Tyler Ross. What was the kicker?
Tyler Loop.
Yeah. Tyler Loop, yeah.
Mike did not miss a kick of less than 50 yards before that one all season long, by the way.
Yeah, and now I'm forgetting the Steelers kicker, Boswell, who missed the extra point. Everybody, it's crazy that kickers determine, both kickers determine really the outcome of this game. And we don't get to see Lamar Jackson or Derrick Henry in the playoffs, and because of a missed kick. And I love Aaron Charles Rodgers personally, and this is a redemption season for him, and Tomlin is the most quotable head coach in football, and he speaks in these haikus, which are wonderful. But it's just wild that the guys who play football for 59 of the minutes, their seasons hang in the balance because of a dude who comes in for 4 seconds and decides the outcome of a game on their foot. It's But yeah, back to the quote, it's amazing. Just if
Here I was thinking he was going to say something about divine intervention.
Oh yeah. Wait, wasn't there a moment where didn't he embrace, or like, wasn't there a moment with the priest after the game with Tomlin, or no? Am I mixing that up?
I honestly, I'm not sure, but that is my second favorite quote after the other player calling the opposing guy a hoe.
Oh yeah,
like, that to me is the GOAT.
Talking about Juwan Jennings.
Yes.
Who was the hoe? I can't remember the player.
He's a hoe. Oh. So, guys, I love that. I thought that was a wild post-game clip, but that game in general, it was so interesting and entertaining, and Baltimore Ravens fans were pretty upset, including Scottie Barnes. But when we look at the fallout over the last couple of days of GMs and coaches being fired, I'm curious for you guys over the next couple of weeks. Is there anyone that you think you're like, hey, their job is going to be safe, or they're immediately going to get rehired, or they're probably going to get fired? Dan, I hear you laughing. So who do you got?
Well, I'm interested to see what happens with Mike McDaniel and the Miami Dolphins moving forward, but I'll leave that and just park it, because Kevin Stefanski getting let go by the Browns. Like, I don't think Kevin Stefanski, I mean, his couple of Coach of the Year awards might attest, is a bad coach. I think this is just the Browns being the Browns again. They haven't given him enough talent. It's gone wayward ever since they signed Deshaun Watson a few years ago, and Kevin Stefanski, if he hasn't been hired already, will be hired very quickly. And anytime, especially in the NFL or the NHL or any of these leagues, when a guy gets fired and he's immediately like the favorite to be the next head coach of the Giants or whomever is out there looking for a new head coach, that you probably just made a mistake. There's a reason why teams like the Steelers and the Ravens, they're very against change. They've got their guys in Mike Tomlin and Harbaugh, and they're like, you know what? The alternatives probably aren't better. So we're just going to stick with this guy because we know he's pretty good. And the Browns had one of those, and they've now let him go. So Kevin Stefanski, happy trails. You're probably going to find yourself in a better spot pretty soon.
The conversation, the seat under John Harbaugh is going to start to get really warm, if it's not already on like 8 on the burner. I also think that in Buffalo and upstate New York, conversation is going to get real spicy if the Buffalo Bills don't beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, and specifically for general manager Brendan Beane, because Josh Allen has to play like a superhero for that team to succeed. And he doesn't have like a WR1 or WR2 that he doesn't have a George Pickens, or it doesn't have a CeeDee Lamb or a T Higgins or a Jamar Chase. I'm talking about Josh Allen as far as like offensive weapons go. James Cook is legit. And James Cook has, I don't know if there's been slander on James Cook, but like he's been a very productive running back the past 3 years, something between like 1,200 and 1,500 yards of offense every year. So like that guy, like he's a legit RB1. But his receiving core, I don't know. And like the tight ends, Kincaid and Dawson Knox. So I imagine in upstate, if they don't win in Jacksonville, and if the Buffalo Bills don't win in Jacksonville, I think sports radio in upstate New York might be clamoring for Brendan Beane's job, because Josh Allen and his injured right ankle has to put on a superhero-like performance in order to. And this is Buffalo's year. He doesn't have to go through Joe Burrow. He doesn't have to go through Lamar Jackson, and he does not have to go through Patrick Mahomes to get to the Super Bowl through the AFC. So. That situation remains to be. It will be very, very fraught if these guys lose. I don't know if they play on Saturday or Sunday this weekend, but it's going to be dicey if they lose to Jacksonville.
Yeah, if you watched the Raptors broadcast last night, Jack Armstrong knew time where he would be, the place, all that. He's like, I am ready to go. So I want them to win basically just for Jack Armstrong, because he's such a Bills fan. He tailgate parties all the time. He's just awesome. I do want to talk about our new segment, What's Grinding Your Gears, which Cabbie brought up to me. He wasn't sure if anyone says it anymore. So I also have
Chat, does anybody say grind your gears anymore, chat? Like what are we doing with this expression? Did we leave it in 1998?
Yes. And you can guess what it means. I'm not going to tell you. It could also be known as GFYT. So Dan, something is grinding your gears, or GFYT, and I'll let you know the first word is go.
Okay. So I'm perusing Twitter last night as I'm watching the Raptors game and later on and doing some prep for the show, and I see this apology come out from Zane Perek, who, by the way, I know Canada won bronze and people are disappointed that they didn't win gold at the World Juniors. Relax, they'll get over it. These guys are incredibly talented athletes, and a lot of them are going to go on to long NHL careers, including Zane Perek, who set the record for most points by a defenseman in a World Junior tournament. And instead of talking about that, he's apologizing for a quote that got people ran away with it after he said it. The quote was, I think it's more watching NHL. He's asked about how he's allowed to be, or what's allowing him to have so much success. And he sort of talks about being able to be himself. And he says, quote, I think it's more watching NHL guys be robots and not having any personality. I think you need some personality, and it's the best way to grow the game. I don't want to come in here and be a robot. When I'm in Calgary, I definitely have a lot of guys that are telling me to give really simple answers, but here I could kind of do what I want, end quote. And he has to apologize for that because he called NHL players robots. I guess they don't show enough personality, which last time I checked is factually true. This is a complaint we all have, that players don't show enough personality, and that there's a culture of the game that I guess rewards not showing personality, or whatever it is. The puck's in deep, give 110%, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to hear it. I want to hear guys' real thoughts. I want them to be more of themselves and express themselves the way they do on the ice outside of that arena on top of that. And to think that not only is Zane Perek feeling like he has to apologize for this, or that he's feeling like he has to, conform to the NHL and its history of having robotic post games, or being this robotic version of a hockey player that falls in line with the way that NHL players have always acted and professional hockey players have always acted. I just hate that for him. Like, go be you, man. Nobleton's finest. Like, let's see more of who Zane Perek is, and keep showing that flair that you show on the ice, off the ice, and wherever you may be. We need more of that Zane Perek. That Zane Perek is good for the National Hockey League. It's good for the growth of the game, and it's good for you, young king. So get after it, man. Be more of yourself.
Do not apologize for being 100% authentically you. And well said, Dan. I'm on Team Zane Perek in this one. Lindsay and I have had hundreds of interactions with athletes as we've interviewed them all over North America, and it is very difficult to get guys out of robot mode, specifically NHL players. This is like the knock against them, as the culture of hockey suppresses personality, and they say team first, although every team sport is team first, but you might have superstars playing on those teams. Either way, I'm on Team Zane. And I think this is such a non-story. And I don't know if the guys in the Calgary Flames dressing room are going to give him crap for it. I don't even know if anybody's going to mention it. It might be like one text, like Uyghur might send him a text, say, bro, it's all good. Like, no harm, no foul. Be you. I mean, as long as you're not showing up your team, I think, or putting your team on blast in the public, I think you just be yourself and just carry on. Zane, I want you to be the next Cale Makar. I know that's a tall ask. That is a giant ask. But if some day in the future you have an 80-point season, 20 goals, 60 assists, Adam Fox, Cale Makar then you can tell, what's the acronym? GFYT to everybody else. And if you're standing up there and you get the cup and you do your victory lap, celebrating with that 35-pound iconic trophy, then everybody can GFY.
Have you guys figured out what that means yet? Loving this. I love this segment. I am totally with you guys on this. I just, when I saw that and read that, I was sad, because he should not have to apologize for that. It's ridiculous, but that's the world we're in. But we can help change that narrative, continuing to be positive and say, hey, be yourself.
One thing, you think Brad Marchand has ever apologized for being authentically his bleeping self? Do you think Matthew Tkachuk has had to apologize for being their authentic selves? Like,
that's the one thing I like about him.
PK Subban never had to apologize, even though he got killed and vilified by the media for being himself. But
he got ran out of Montreal is what happened.
He did.
Right?
You think Alex Ovechkin has ever apologized for being himself? Like, I mean, granted, Ovi's here, and okay, maybe Ovi's not a great example, but like Marchand and Kachuk and. Anyway, it's such a not.
When their interviews happen, I appreciate it for exactly that reason that you're saying, Cabbie, because I've interviewed all of them, as I'm sure you have, and they'll give you answers that are fun, that are different, that they're authentic, that they are being themselves, rather than I am not going to say anything outside of the script. I'm going to say we have to play better defense, try to get the shot between the posts, didn't happen. We'll get them next time. So keep being yourself, do exactly what Dan and Cabbie are saying. And just everyone chill the F out also. That could also be a segment update, because there's been some terrible takes about this World Junior squad and how they got bronze. If you look at the photo, they are not happy. Yes, they wanted to win gold. They're kids also. The crap that I'm seeing online, and even some of the stuff that I heard was being said to them in person by adults, it's not okay. I'm going to let that go. Okay. I'm going to get off my soapbox, which was my segment.
It's probably worse in the U.S. for like collegiate basketball players, like during March Madness. Those are also kids. Those are also 18, 19-year-olds and playing, not a global game like the World Juniors, but the stakes are really high there in America, where, people will show up at your house. You know what I mean? So I'm like you. I feel for these kids, these hockey players, and I definitely feel for these collegiate basketball players who play in the March Madness tournament with just one and done, which is incredible theater. But I can imagine the pressure, and the DMs are wildly reckless and wildly inappropriate and threatening. And I feel actually bad for we're talking about the kicker, Tyler Loop, on his. Yeah. I don't know if you guys saw this on his wedding for his most recent post on like he's kissing his bride. The vitriol in the comments, just like, oh my gosh, it's brutal.
Crazy.
It's brutal what these guys have to endure.
I'll say this about, because anytime Canada loses a hockey tournament, it's like there's got to be like a national intervention of some kind. It's like, look at the last 3 first overall picks in the National Hockey League. You got Matthew Schaefer, who looks like a generational defenseman. You've got Macklin Celebrini, who's making Team Canada for the Olympics at 19 years old and might be the first teenager to score 100 points in the league since, I don't know, like Mario Lemieux or something. It's insane. And then you've got Connor Bedard, who was really starting to come into his own this year and was lighten up all kinds of defensemen across the league and really starting to be that guy that we expected him to be when he was drafted first overall a few years ago. So yeah, the future in Canada for hockey still bright. And also, guess what? It's more of a global game than it ever has been. So maybe our perch on the top isn't quite what it used to be. And we're going to have to get used to that because Sweeten's getting really good. We know the U.S. has gotten a whole lot better, and it's going to keep happening. So just get used to it. We're not it's not the same dominant Canada that we've seen in the past, but it's not from anything that we're doing. It's also because everybody else is starting to catch up.
Well, I really enjoyed the first installment of GYFT. I had to think about it but I also enjoy hearing you guys' Proline pick of the day and seeing how it ends by the end of the day. I do. When watching,
Cat got a win yesterday. Come on, we got to win.
You know what? When watching your favorite sports, make things interesting with Proline. You must be 18 or plus to bet in store, 19 plus online for Ontario residents only. And please play responsibly. Dan, where are we at tonight?
Well, I'm looking at the Maple Leafs tonight, and we're going with a goal from John Tavares because the Leafs, we know that Austin Matthews has been all over it, all over the lamp, all over the score sheet lately. Leafs are going to need more from John Tavares, maybe on the power play. I don't know where it's going to come from, but JT has been a little bit quieter lately, and the Leafs need him to get back into the goal column, and he will do so tonight against the Panthers.
The most unexpected win streak in the 2025-2026 NHL season was the Buffalo Sabres winning 9 in a row. And someone who's playing in GFY mode, FU mode, is Tage Thompson. He scored 8 goals in December, did not score yesterday in his last game against Columbus, but recently named to Team USA to compete in the Winter Olympic Games My pick tonight is Tage Thompson to score an anytime goal against the Vancouver Canucks, who are coming in losers of 5 of their last 6 and the beginning of a 6-game road swing. Tage Thompson, unleash yourself, sir. That's my pick.
Unleash yourself, sir. I like that. I am excited. I look forward to it every day and every night to see if you guys are right or wrong, and then ignore it the next day if you're wrong. But we were right last night.
So do we.
Yeah. And you know what else I love? Quoting a player and using their quote as our own, because I'm going to kind of paraphrase what CMB said earlier when he asked about the physicality. Well, we are influencers, guys. We lift, no cocky stuff, but Bo Bichette is being offered a great anytime, I think, steak at an amazing. You know what, Dan? You broke this news to me yesterday, so or this morning. I'm gonna let you tell people what this is.
So I now know that Animal Toronto clearly watches and listens to Off the Roster, because earlier in the Jays offseason we mentioned Toronto businesses got to step up. How can we sweeten the pot for Bo Bichette to want to come back to Toronto? And Animal is offering him a lifetime's worth of steaks at Animal Toronto. So shouts to you, fellas, doing your part to get Bo Bichette back in a Blue Jays uniform. Steak for life sounds pretty incredible to me. I have yet to be at Animal Toronto, but maybe one of these days I'll get to try it alongside Bo Bichette with his free steak.
Well, listen, if we go, and salute to Sasha Elwikel and the rest of the crew over at Animal, there is a $1,000 dish on the menu. $1,000. If I'm Bo Bichette, I'm going to start with that one. You know what? Let me just pick the most. If this is on the house, I'm just going to pick your most expensive bottle of red wine to pair with this $1,000. I think it's a steak. It's several lobsters. There's probably some giant crab. I mean, it's probably, I don't know if
that's the night I lose my
wallet. A caviar marinade, probably. I'm not exactly sure what's on it, but for $1,000, it better just be the greatest meal you've ever had. And I'm sure it tastes incredible. I would hope so.
Would love this. Yeah. And Dan, I love how you're immediately like, that's the day I'm going to lose my wallet.
Yeah, that's the day I lose my wallet.
Let's go with Bo. How about that?
We're going to
show
go
trip with Bo Bichette.
And potentially his new teammate, Okamoto, who is going to speak later to the Toronto media, and we will have highlights from that on our social media channels, and we'll be talking about it tomorrow, as well as the Raptors, and we're going to talk about the Leafs and how they performed against the Panthers. A lot of sports news happening, but thank you for joining us for today's episode of Off the Roster.
Hope you enjoyed this video. If you want more Off the Roster content, make sure to like and hype this video and subscribe to the Nation Network YouTube channel.